It was not an ordinary event, but a beginning for the long conflict between the Palestinian people and the Israeli occupation. It was a major humanitarian disaster in the lives of Palestinians. In this year, 800,000 Palestinians were forcibly displaced. 531 Palestinian villages were destroyed, and more than 70 massacres were committed against Palestinians by Zionist gangs. So what is the Nakba? Why do Palestinians commemorate it every year, and what is its impact for today? This is Mohammed Shaban, and welcome to you in the Beyond the Frame program, in which we discuss the most important contemporary issues related to the Palestinian cause from more than one perspective, bringing you closer to the Palestinian reality. Far away from historical studies and theoretical methods, let me tell you in a brief about the story of 1948 Nakba. But before, I will tell you a little bit about the beginning. Let's go back to the First World War, and exactly on November 2, 1917. On this day, British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour was free, so he was thinking and decided to issue his ominous declaration to establish a national homeland for Jews in Palestine. Thus, Britain gave a right that it doesn't have to those who don't deserve it, claiming that there is no state called Palestine.
And Mahdi, I don't know if you know, but there never was a Palestinian state. So you can't occupy something that never was a state.
There was no Palestine. So Zionists occupied it as a legal right for them. So simple, no one knew home, so I had the right to sell it. So what about the Palestinians who constituted 90% of the population of Palestine, while the Jews were less than 10%? After issuing the Balfour Declaration in 1917 and with the British mandate of Palestine, the Zionist institution became more active and controlled large area of historical Palestine. The Jews began to migrate from different places to Palestine and built gatherings for them there under religious pretext, which were funded by Zionist organization and the British government, along with a number of colonial authorities.
Let me finish. Billions of Muslims and Christians believe in the Bible. I assume including yourself, I don't know. If you want to say that our land does not belong to us, I suggest you go change the Bible first, come back and then show me a new Bible that says that the land of Israel doesn't belong to Jews.
Well. I'm not that religious one to discuss with you such topics, so I will leave you with the Jewish Rabbi David Weiss to respond to you.
Judaism says, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. We have no right to the rule of the land of Palestine. This is what Judaism says. Judaism is spirituality, a religion of compassion to emulate God. Zionism must be created 100 years ago by atheists, people who have abhorred religion, who wanted to transform Judaism from religion to nationality.
Let me tell you, Naftali, that the number of Jewish immigrants to Palestine between 1882 and 1936 reached about 280,000. And with the end of the British mandate in Palestine in 1948, it reached about 650,000. This was a great number at that time. You know that what the Jews owned in Palestine in 1918 did not exceed 240,000 dunams. But in 1948, it reached 1.8 million dunams. And this made Palestinians more angry. As a result, the conflict between the Palestinians and the Zionist movement highly increased. So the United Nations issued the resolution number 181 on November 29, 1947, which declared the division of Palestine into two states. The first is Jewish based on 54% of the Palestinian lands, and the second is Palestinians built on 44% of the Palestinian land. But the Palestinians rejected this resolution and decided to confront the Zionist movement. On May 15, 1948, the British government ended its mandate over Palestine. Simultaneously, the leaders of the Zionist movement announced the establishment of the State of Israel, headed by the David Ben-Gurion. Thus, war broke out between the Arab forces and the Zionist organization, and the war lasted for 9 consecutive months, later known as Nakba War. The Nakba was the largest ethnic cleansing operation in the 20th century, in which Zionist gangs displaced more than 800,000 Palestinians from their villages and cities by force to the West Bank, Gaza, and neighboring Arab countries. In that time, before 1948, the number of Palestinians in Palestine was about 1,400,000. As a result of Nakba, Zionist gangs controlled more than 85% of the area of historical Palestine. During the Nakba, they took control over 774 Palestinian villages and cities. 531 of them were completely destroyed. Not only that, but the Zionist gangs committed more than 70 massacres against Palestinians, each of which represent a war crime and a crime against humanity, and they are classified as genocide. This Nakba led to murder of about 15,000 Palestinian citizens by the Zionist forces. This is how the State of Israel was established, with the blood, murder, and the crimes against humanity. Now the number of Palestinians has reached about 13.8 million, 7 million inside Palestine and 6 million in the diaspora. It's worth noting that 93% of the total area of Israel belongs to Palestinian refugees, and it was established on 78% of the total area of the historical Palestine. So do you think that Nakba ended in 1948?
The Nakba continues because only 50% of the people were expelled and only 80% of the land was taken. The Nakba continues every day in Gaza, in Nablus, in the Galilee, in the Nakab, and we should have a discussion about the destruction of Palestine and not about the
The Nakba did not end in 1948, but was followed by other wars and aggressions and systematic violations and crimes against Palestinians, up to what Israeli occupation intends to do by announcing the so-called deal of the century, which works to liquidate the refugee issue and denies them their right to retain homeland and self-determination.
In the 1948 war, 650,000 Jews were kicked out of the Arab countries. But we don't go on whining for 68 years. That we took them into Israel, gave them citizenship.
So Palestinians under occupation
are whining? Once and for all, take care of their own brothers and sisters. We, the Jews, did it. And we're not looking back 68 years. We solved the problem.
So it's simple. Look, there are a few millions Palestinians around the world. Where's the problem to give them some citizenship out of Palestine? And by the way, we end the refugee issue. Simple, Naftali. But take a listen to this.
I don't see any going back to social justice. I don't see any increased consciousness without going to the central issue, which is, do the Palestinians have a right to their own home? That's the issue. Why can't they come home? They need to come home.
Palestinians have the right to return their home back, and no one can cancel this legitimate right, which is guaranteed by the International Resolution number 194. Palestinians must return back to their homeland, and this occupation must end. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and hit that bell. Also, don't forget to follow us on our social media platform, 60 October Media Group. You'll find the links to our pages in the description below. Salam.